Well, hello, weirdos. I want to thank you all for joining me today. First of all, I would like to thank all of my new subscribers. I'm up to 60. Wow, what a cool thing. I want to thank my special guest, Roy Pitluk, for being here.
Thank you.
This is a really cool thing for me to have some local talent up here for a change, instead of just me sitting in this room being me. So there's a couple of things that I wanted to say first. Look at me, I'm all nervous.
Now just calm down. It's not your first time, Michael.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. And then if one thing I wanted to mention is that if you want to ask a question at some point, be sure to subscribe because it is set to subscriber only, I do believe. Roy Pitluk, where are you from?
I was born in Chicago. I grew up in Miami-Dade, and right around the age of 40, I moved to California and have lived in San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Palm Springs since I've been here.
Fantastic, fantastic. Where did you grow up?
Well, the suburbs of Miami, actually. I went to Miami-Dade High School, or Miami Palmetto High School, and I was not too far from a place called Fairchild Tropical Gardens, which is a gorgeous area that full of tropical plants and trees, but it also has a lot of parrots. And the parrots, they let the parrots go in the morning. So one of the treats in living in suburban Miami is just seeing flocks of parrots. They would fly out, they would go back, and we were not too far from Biscayne Bay, which is also a lovely place. It was kind of a place we went to when in high school when we wanted to have parties or picnics and things. And so there are a lot of beautiful memories I have of nature.
I kind of see you as an ocean guy.
I love the ocean, and so I appreciate it, but I love the desert.
Have you seen the Los Angeles Arboretum?
No, I haven't.
Or Griffith Park. They've got a lot of great plants from like everywhere.
Not yet. Yeah, that's a new thing I want to see.
Yeah, yeah. Griffith was famous, just like Disney, for going out and all over the world and gathering plants for his parks and stuff. So it had that really, really traveled feel.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So let's see. What was your formative years growing up? You know, what was that like for you? You know,
I'd say I worked really hard. It was important for me to do well in school. I had a friend named Victor who was like the top student and top at everything, and good friend of mine. And he sort of spurred me on to read more and study more and work harder. And I think that was really part of the cultural environment I was into. Education was everything, and that's common with Jewish families.
Okay.
And so that was important. As I got into high school, that's when I developed an interest in music and the arts, and I was reading all the time, and I was playing music. I took Spanish guitar lessons from a guy in a part of Miami called Coconut Grove, which is pretty well known. It's a big tourist destination now, but it has an amazing history.
Wasn't there a movie?
Hey, you tell me. You know cinema better than I do. Okay.
Right.
It was a way of finding self-esteem. It was a way of maybe keeping myself entertained when I was alone. And, you know, it's kind of like that line from Paul Simon, my poetry and my books protected me.
Yeah.
And my guitar protected me, because they say people that often pick up the guitar are shy. And even now it feels like a synergistic connection when I play music. So I would play music, and it was a culturally explosive time. It was just before the Beatles, and the Beatles also came out during that time while I was in high school. So it was the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, but it was also Laura Nero. It was also Joni Mitchell. It was folk music.
Great.
A little bit of musical type of stuff. And
my daughter's into Joni Mitchell. So,
oh, okay.
Billy Joel.
See, that's kind of beautiful to see that,
Yeah.
because it's coming to the new generation.
It is. We have to make sure that they don't forget. Let's not cancel everything out.
No, right. We're not canceling.
Yeah.
So the show's going on.
Exactly.
And I think I also was very interested, and still am interested, in the roots of African American music and how much that's played a role. Even when I was a kid, I remember kids would listen to Jan and Dean and the Dave Clark Five, and I was listening to Sam Cooke and Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell and Ray Charles, and I love that soul, and I love the deep timbre of the voice and the spirituality of it. And so I started singing that stuff, and now I think that's translated into the way I love the blues and the way I can just express emotions in a full-throated way.
Yeah, I think I have a kinship to the African American roots as well, because I like the cinema, the music, the TV shows, and maybe it's just because I'm just an American that's what I grab onto, is the stuff that is kind of in the media, right?
It is,
but it's funny that a guy like me would choose stuff like that. The blues. You were mentioning some stuff. I just want to grab some records here. I know this is live stuff. This is what I love about doing live, is that you can just kind of play around and here we go. Hey, the fun.
Yes. Right.
See, so do you feel like you were influenced heavily in your music by blues or by rock and roll? Or
blues more so. I did listen to rock and roll, and I love it.
Yeah.
But blues was more integral to what I was feeling and what I liked to sing. When I was starting to play guitar, I chose pretty basic songs that had, as we call it, a triad when I played the guitar, and pop songs that were like at the top of the chart, and those were recognizable. There was a period when I was going to the University of Florida in Gainesville, where I was singing in it was a cafe. It was actually a gay cafe in Gainesville, and I met a woman, and we decided to form a duo. We both dropped out of college and went on the road for a while. That didn't last a long time, but it was a great experience. And it's still part of like one of those experiences I draw on as I've gone back to it later in life.
Right. Well, going back to your musical roots, and being in high school, being a teenager, being influenced by this and that, and then being gay and being Jewish. How were your parents involved in all of this?
They were all in on this.
Really? They were behind you 100%?
Yeah, I'm not just saying that, because my father, Marvin Pitluk, may he rest in peace, he studied opera, and my mother, Edna Davidson, also studied opera.
Wow.
And my parents were divorced. My father lived in Chicago, and he used to send me these 45 records that he would record it. And those were, I cannot explain how, or I can, but they were incredibly important to me as a child. It was a way my father showed love and showed me who he is. And he would sing the songs from the 40s, the Frank Sinatra, songs from that era. And he later sang in musicals in kind of an extracurricular way. And when he was really older, he sang in a barbershop quartet.
Wow.
And he had a terrific voice. My mother didn't continue it like that, but she had that love of music. And I remember she loved people like Sarah Vaughan. And I remember when my mother went to an African-American church so she could hear gospel live.
Wow.
So I realize even as I speak to you, it's triggering memories, Michael,
Yeah,
of
me
these
too.
times and these lights that entered my life. Because as I look back, I think, oh, I wish they were here.
Right.
I wish they could hear me.
Well, they
Yeah.
kind of are. I mean, they are with you because they kind of become a part of everything you do in a way,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So kind of like everything that you do is just like everybody standing around you, kind of with their arms around you
yes,
saying, yeah, we get it, man. We get it.
yes,
You
yes. It's a wonderful
Yeah.
feeling.
Totally.
Um, so it's funny because I was just speaking to a friend of mine who lives in Gainesville now. I knew him from the University of Florida, and he just said something must have happened for you to be able to do this and to get started again. And he said,
Yeah.
your parents gave you something. And I thought about it. I wasn't sure what, but absolutely, he was correct.
Wow. Maybe before you go, you can dig in through my drawer down here
Okay.
in my cabinet and pick out some 45s to take with you. Because I got a
Oh,
whole drawer of
thank you,
45s
Michael.
to go through. Pick
That'd
out
be
something
so
that looks
cool.
familiar.
That'd be
In fact,
so
that leads
cool.
me to my next question.
Okay.
When you were young and you were listening to music, what was your favorite media for listening to music? Cassettes, reel-to-reel, 8-track, LP?
I remember LP.
LP was your...
And probably because I didn't have the technical prowess of keeping up with every new technology. And I remember using LPs, playing 45s.
It's like the standard for like, what, 50 years? Long play?
I remember years ago when my Aunt Gail in Chicago sent me a Johnny Mathis record on an LP. And I was young and I listened to that. And so there were a lot of disparate influences and eclectic influences that I was exposed to and that I loved. And it really tied in through my love of poetry and literature as well, because I think that stimulated the kind of choices of words I'll go to when I'm writing lyrics.
Right.
That's just as important as anything. Maybe the most important thing is the lyrics. And as I got older, and I would listen to people like Leonard Cohen, and just I was so pulled into his emotions, his lyrics, and also the person that Leonard Cohen was, the man that he was, and the man that traveled, the man that really kind of busted taboos. He never got married and had kids. He had a lot of lovers during his life. This is part of who he was.
Right.
And I love Leonard Cohen. I love Johnny Cash, his authenticity, the way he sings.
Yeah, and you can hear it in the lyrics. The lyrics especially tell the story of who they are.
Stories. That's where we're going. Stories.
Yeah. So do you have a story you want to tell us through song?
The first one is called The Love I Feel for You. And the setting is, or the template is, it's just about the feeling of having a crush or being in love with somebody, maybe your friends, maybe your acquaintances, but you want to express it. You don't know if it's the right time. You don't know if it's going to chase someone away. You don't know if you're going to look too needy.
Yeah.
So I think this is something that most folks have experienced. And that's kind of what I want to center on, how it involves not just me, but us as people. What my story, or maybe my story about someone else, but this is a story I think a lot of people can relate to when they hear the words. And there was also a part of the song where I threw in some lyrics as kind of a solo, not that came from the Arthurian legends, because it's a romantic song. It's a romantic song, and that's really, to my understanding, the root of romanticism in Western civilization. It's not something that occurred just in civilization, but the Arthurian legends, it was idealized and it was formalized, and it became a style of writing. And it was also connected with the culture. So that's part of the song also. It's
cool.
Yeah. So
Lady Guinevere stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Right on, right on. So whenever you're ready, yeah,
Okay, let's hit it.
Live TV, people.
Live TV, and
Invitation.
I just dropped the music. Hold on a second.
Oh, Script Boy. Oh shit, that's me.
Okay, here we go.
All right.
I wake up and I think of your embrace. I kiss your lips, my hands caress your face. I never told you how I feel. I'm afraid to reveal the love I feel for you. If I tell you, will you start to draw away? Or will you welcome me and let our spirits play? I must freely confess, I don't know how to express the love inside me. Let me read to you softly in bed. I'll serenade you, I'll cherish every word you said. With kisses rough and tender, you'll lie back and you'll surrender. My desire keeps growing in my head. Like the knight who asked his princess, I pray you, darling, counsel me whether it is better for a man to speak or die. I wake up and I think of your embrace. I kiss your lips, my hands caress your face. I never told you how I feel. I'm afraid to reveal the love I feel for you. The love that I feel for you.
Wow, that was beautiful.
Thanks, Michael.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Wow, I felt like I was being transported in time.
Thank you.
That was a great time travel device there you have there.
That happens to me too.
Do you listen to a lot of? Did you listen to a lot of Burt Bacharach?
Not a lot.
That has a Burt Bacharach feel for me.
Thank you.
It really does. I listened to a lot of Burt Bacharach, Herb Alpert, the Tijuana Brass,
Yeah.
Sergio Mendes, and this has got that movie musical feel.
Thank you so much. I didn't think of that.
That is great.
I encountered Burt Bacharach when I was singing in a choir in Palm Springs called Modern Men, and it drew a lot on, writers like that, songwriters.
So this
like
is more
that.
recent than.
Yeah, more recently. Okay. But growing up, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Music back from when we were when maybe you were young. Where is this one? Maxine Brown, All in My Mind. When we're done, I'll have to play that for you because it is one of the most beautiful, soulful, early rock and roll songs.
Yes.
And I just love it. So let's see, where were we in the interview? We talked about your musical interests. Okay, let's talk about let's talk a little bit about movies, since we were just talking about the sounding like a movie soundtrack.
Yeah.
Were you into the cinema when you were young?
Not much, and I really haven't been
Really?
historically. Sometimes I'll watch art movies, and not because they're artsy, but I just find myself interested. Some people like David Lynch, those
Right,
kind of
yeah.
artists.
There you go.
And that's kind of the stuff I may tune into now. But I was not a big movie buff, and I tended to read more than I watched movies,
great.
and that was my greater pleasure.
So that's your media of entertainment.
Yeah.
Your choice there.
Yeah, poetry, literature, music. And now on the internet, we're just exposed to such a variety of things. If I want to read periodicals, I'll go to the internet. I'll go to my phone.
Right. But most of the people nowadays just prefer to read short things, texts, memes.
That's true.
Watch cute little videos. Short attention span type thing. And I'm into I'm in for the long haul when it comes to entertainment. A book, a movie, something, a box set of records.
Yes, and I don't think that's gone. When I think of somebody like Leonard Cohen, his songs are not 2.5 minutes and then it stops.
Right,
your standard 2.5 minutes. They can go on for, some of them I've heard, like they're 12 minutes. They're many verses. It's telling a full story.
Yeah.
And sometimes Bob Dylan would do that, like Sad-Eyed Lady of the Lowlands. There were so many verses, and there was so much to that story.
He does have so many songs.
He has so many songs.
Blue. I'm like, I'm going to learn Tangled Up in Blue, and then I look at the lyrics, and it's just like goes on forever. And I'm like,
exactly.
Maybe I'm not.
Yeah, I'd get tangled up in that. Exactly.
Yeah, totally.
And you're right. There has been a change. Things have been truncated. The songs are shorter, but I think that applicable to a certain type of music for a certain audience. And I don't want to identify the audience because there's nothing wrong with wanting that.
The audience after August 1st, 1981 is when MTV came online.
MTV, that was a seminal.
Now we've got pictures constantly associated with music, right?
Yes.
So now even the musicians themselves are so wrapped up in image and what do I look like on video and how does the video tie in with the music? And I'm not going to do the song if it's not going to have a cool video, kind of thing.
You're right.
And that's where I see it starting. It's when music left music. Right. When videos came along and the music just kind of fell second.
That you got me thinking there. Yeah. You really got me thinking, because
let's get a song out of that.
I don't think about it, but I do think about what is the length, and I want to make sure that it holds people's interests also.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be too long, and I'm cognizant of that. But I won't stop at, say, 2 minutes and 30 seconds when I feel there's another verse that's essential to tell the song.
Right. I mean, it is. For me, songwriting is more about poetry.
Yeah.
Put to music. And if you do it right, then that's what it is. You can have the lyrics without the music and it still means something. Doo-wop, diddy doo-wop don't mean much without the music.
No.
It loses its context. But if you got really good lyrics, expressive, meaningful, emotional, something that grabs you by the butt and says, hey.
When I think of pop music, and I am writing and producing pop music, sometimes I'll focus on the chorus, because sometimes I'll listen to a song and I realize I just can't wait to hear that chorus. Right. That's when I get that emotional charge. Yeah. When is that chorus coming?
That's it.
So when I write, I'm conscious of that, and I like to have a chorus, and I like to go back to it, because it just creates a different flow, even as I hear it.
Live TV.
Okay,
we got
live
somebody
TV.
Knocking at the door.
Okay, the house is burning down.
Hey, how you doing, Devin? Thanks a lot. All right, man. Take care. That's was Devin. He is our park maintenance guy, and he brings by my rent notice.
Okay.
That's pretty cool. So where were we at?
I was just kind
Thanks,
of
Devin.
riffing on how I feel about the chorus, and I'm thinking aloud about how I create a song and how other artists create songs, and then what do I want to hear as a listener
Right.
too? I'm
Yeah.
thinking also, what do I want to hear when I'm dancing? What do I want to hear when I'm just listening or I'm at a nightclub? Do I want to hear a DJ? Do I want to hear somebody sing live? All of those things.
Right.
And the answer is yes to
You
all
want
of
to dance?
the
You
above.
want to headbang? What do you want to do? You know?
Yes. Yes.
Right. Right. In fact, I just wrote a song that I've been working on that doesn't really have a chorus. It's the verse and the chorus kind of become one, and it kind of just remains the same throughout the whole song, just changing a little bit. And it's the first time I've ever done something like that.
And that can work too.
But I love words. Words are so fun.
Right.
You know?
And it's the words that bring out emotions. It's the words that make people look inside and say, I remember that time in my past.
Vice
I
versa.
remember, yeah. And sometimes the sound of the music can trigger memories. They can be memories of all kinds. They're not always happy memories. I'm driving down the beach. I'm having fun. I get a milkshake, the old kind of a 50s version of it. They can be many things. But the words, those mean a lot to me. They mean a lot to me when I write. And some people say, what happens first? Do you hear the melody of the words? I have the words always, and I write them. It could have been a dream. It could have been an experience. It could have been a memory. It could have been a fear.
Is it always that way? The words come first?
Usually, yes. Almost always.
I flip back and forth. Sometimes it'll be one little twang on a guitar, and it's like, 3 more twangs. I got it. I got to write some words to this, right?
Right.
Yeah. It's just amazing how the human mind can just take something like a guitar, right?
Yeah.
And just express so much, like you said, emotion, and tell a story, and just it's to me that would be the closest thing like to perfection, right? Even if you can't do it perfectly, just being able to express yourself so openly and freely is like perfect.
Yes. And we will often hear musicians say, this is where I feel the most free.
Yeah.
And I know that's true for me. There's a certain freedom and exuberance that I feel on stage.
Even if you're a novice.
Yes.
You still feel like, wow, I'm the king of the world, even though everybody else, they're plugging their ears. But if it makes you inside feel like you're, Rocky, then start jumping around,
It can be dance. Of course, dance music is not easy to produce as a soloist. No. You need you need an assembly.
Yeah.
But
if one man can feel inside like he can make people get up and dance, even if he's only a dancing of one, because he's the only one that feels it and understands it, that's still so perfect.
Yes, I agree. I was thinking of the varieties of different music I hear in the desert, this part of the desert. So I don't know if all the viewers are in this local area, but we have the high desert and we have the low desert. And I can be in one city and hear a different style of music. Yeah. I can be in the East Coachella Valley and hear something different than I hear in Palm Springs. Right. And then when I come to the high desert, it's a whole different sound. I hear different instruments. And that is one of the things I love about playing different gigs, different clubs. And I learn from the people. I learn from the reactions, and it brings out something in me.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Have you got something else that you want to do for us right now? We're about halfway through our show.
Okay. This is called My Man. This is more of a romantic feeling between two men. And
while you're doing that, I'm going to adjust the light. We got some coming.
Okay, yeah. I see it.
Get started.
steel. My man protects me from harm. He looks in my eyes and he knows just how I feel. I feel the stillness when he locks me in his arms. My man is my romance atmospheric. My man is primal and he never leaves a trace. My man is the music for my lyric. My man wraps me in the heft of his embrace. Your loving is so good. I just never get enough. Your loving is so good. Whether it's tender or it's rough. My man, oh, he has his secrets. He keeps his wounds deep inside. My man shares his secrets when we're together. But my man, he never cried. Your loving is so good. I just never get enough. Your loving, it's so good. Whether it's tender or it's rough. My man is stronger than steel. My man protects me from harm. He looks into my eyes and he knows just how I feel. I feel the stillness when he locks me in his arms. Hey, thank you, Mike.
Wow, that was beautiful. Let me take your guitar for a second.
Okay, thank you. Okay, you got it.
But mainly because I want to hug. That was beautiful.
Oh, thank
man.
you, buddy.
That was awesome.
Thank you, buddy.
God, you got a fantastic voice, man.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Oh, they're gonna hear that. They're hearing that microphone now. What the hell?
There you
Stop touching
go.
that microphone.
My fault.
Harry, he's touching the mic again. Shut up, Marge. They're live. My morning show coming on.
I forget I'm live here because it's so casual.
I know. I forget. I'm often scared that I'm going to walk in live and be scratching my. Oh shit. But yeah, that was fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. How did you get into singing this particular style of music? Your style of music. When did you find you?
Yeah, I'm not even sure. If I think about it, I just tentatively started playing blues. And then I thought, I feel such a flow with my voice. I can just express certain emotions that way that I can't with other music. I can't do it with rock. I can't do it with ballad. And with blues, I can just dive into that sound. And also blues has a little bit more freedom for innovation if I want to riff and if I want to talk a little to the audience.
Right. Yeah.
So
the spoken blues.
Yeah. It didn't happen by conscious design. It happened just by feeling things out, trying different music. Uh, I have to wonder about that.
Yeah. My favorite word for my live stuff is organic.
Yeah.
It just kind of happens the way it happens.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm doing now, is I'm just kind of trying to let things happen the way they happen, try not to force too much thought or planning into it,
And also because some of your questions really jogged my memory. And when I think about the blues, I go back again to the African American roots, and how this was African American, the Harlem Renaissance, Billie Holiday, Louis Armstrong. What was that?
That was my lifestyle. When I forgot about daylight savings. These were supposed to go off an hour ago. So
Sarah Vaughan, just a wealth of incredible talent that moved me, and it moved me as a child. I have to really figure out who was I when I was 8, 9, 12. It really moved me as a child, and I didn't know why. Why did I love Marvin Gaye when he went out on his own?
That's what I was going to say about this one here. It sounded Sarah Vaughan. It sounded like those female balladeers back then.
Thank you so much.
Balladeresses. How do you say that?
I'm not sure myself.
That is fantastic that you found, that thing inside of you that said, this is the way I'm going to sing. When did that happen? Were you young?
No. This happened more recently in life, because I went back to music.
So you were out of music too for a while.
A long time, and I had a job that was more left-brained, completely left-brained. And
I take it you didn't listen to much music either.
At different times, I wasn't listening to as much music then.
Like the radio.
Yeah. I was listening to music, but not like I do now, because now I'm meeting people all the time since I started playing again. And they'll say, can you do this? Or you have to listen to that. And sometimes I have no familiarity with that songwriter. And then I
with that genre.
Yeah, but what happens is I hear it through their eyes. I hear it through their ears, I should say, and see it through their eyes. And then it becomes mine. And I've broadened my musical library that way. And also playing in different clubs has broadened my musical library. Listening to people. And some people will say, I can't believe you never heard this. Well, here. So I'll look it up. And
it's so easy to get music now because of YouTube and Spotify and, anywhere else you go, there's some kind of app that you can just, you can just punch it up on your computer through Google, and it'll take you to wherever the song is available.
Exactly.
And that is fantastic.
Exactly.
I was out of music from 95 till about 10 years ago.
Oh, okay.
And my daughter, bless her heart, she decided to start introducing me to music again. And her interests go back to 95. So she's catching me up on everything that I missed, only cherry picking the best.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool.
That's really nice.
It is.
It's like that person becomes a source of inspiration and learning and new experiences.
I want to, so then I Google, chords and lyrics on one of her songs. Maybe I can play one of her songs.
Right.
So music is a really, it can be a really communal thing, and it should be the one thing that ties us all together.
I think it does in many ways, and I don't want to be a Pollyanna either. But sometimes when nothing else will do, music will carry that weight and bring people together who think very differently, who have different cultural points of view, political points of view.
Yeah. One little girl walks in in a Stradivarius and everybody stops.
Right.
No more politics, religion, corporate bullshit. It's done.
Yes.
Yes. Let's all sit down and listen to this little girl play this.
Yes. We've seen that so many times in so many cultures. And also, we've heard so much about this so-called homogenization about the world, but when I listen to music around the world, the ethnicity is still so powerful, and the personalities. When I listen to music from Latin America, when I listen to music from the Slavic countries, music from the UK, there are real differences. And those places have come in at different times in history. one exciting thing happened, and my brother Zachary does a lot of travel to Europe on business, and he really got me out of the house and got me to go to southern Germany and Alsace, and he got tickets to see a Brazilian artist named Gilberto Gil. And I had not heard of him, even though I love Brazilian music. And this man was amazing. And he put on a concert in a place called Freiburg, Germany, in southern Germany, close to the Black Forest. And it was magnificent. And he is 81 years old, and he had a gigantic band around him composed of family members. And at 81, he put on a long performance. He was strong, he was vital. And I thought, you know, if God grants my wish, I can be singing like that at 81. And that would be a blessing. That would be like joy to me.
The German Willie Nelson.
There you go. Maybe.
That's fantastic. So you speak German?
No, it's ambition. I speak a lot more Spanish than German. I took German in high school, but Spanish I've been able to use. And so I use it.
Right.
And I feel proud of this. I got to a point where I'm not fluent by any means, but I was able to write 2 songs in Spanish. And my brother-in-law, who's like a superb musician and just sort of somebody who organizes global festivals for Sephardic Jewish music.
Wow.
He helped me with the grammar and the tone, where I might use a word about, say, a seduction. I remember I used a word and he said, Roy, what you're describing is more like a potential rape, not a seduction. And so I quickly changed the words, and I'm glad I have those wonderful connections to assist me to do things I wouldn't be able to do well myself.
Yeah. I wish my father had done that. He was a writer. He's passed away, but he wrote a lot. I don't think anything's ever been published, but he attempted to write stuff using a French character. And I was always scratching my head, like, how are you going to pull that off, right?
Yeah.
How are you going to write as though you are a French person in French when you really don't know how to speak? You don't know the dialect, you don't know the meter, you know. So that I don't think I could ever attempt myself to write something in another language. So kudos for you, man.
No, it's so exciting.
Yeah.
And I love the sound of Spanish, so that it has more of us. I mean, it's a Romance language. It has that softness to it, and has that full-throated romance and love and pining for somebody. I love artists like, there's an artist who is Mexican named Chavela Vargas. And Vargas.
Not Vargas. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I didn't catch it. I'm sorry. And she,
my stupid humor.
It's okay. She absolutely loved being on stage. She felt like the only time she was happy in her life, and she was chronically depressed, was when she was on stage. And she was loved by people in Mexico, just loved and adored in a special way.
Like Iron Maiden. Mexican people love Iron Maiden all of South America. Do you know Iron Maiden?
No, but I recognize the name. It's not somebody I've listened to. Yeah, right.
Yeah. And that's another thing, heavy metal. You go to a small town in like Yugoslavia, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
Or you go to an Indian reservation on the Navajo, right? Or you go to Brazil and you find everybody listening to the same heavy metal, right? Because music just reaches, right?
Yes.
And everybody can find something that they like. And nowadays, anybody can find something that they like in music. And that's exciting.
That is true.
And that music is everywhere now.
In some places, it's more communal. And I was thinking of the time I went to Europe after high school. I was 18, and I took my guitar, because I always had my guitar with me. And I remember when we stopped in Lisbon on this European tour, and I took my guitar and I found one of these beautiful plazas in Lisbon and sat down and played the Beatles. Wow. And soon there was a crowd around me singing Beatles songs. And it was so neat. It was wonderful. Wow. I don't know if it it was something about that place, Lisbon, about Portugal, about the culture. And I never forgot that, because I always wanted to experience those things again, that community, that togetherness.
A familial
Yeah.
musical interest thing. It's
Right.
a lot of the families, especially in Europe, to have a piano or to have some kind of musical instrument. Did you have a piano in your home growing up?
No, there was no piano.
Well, that's interesting that you had musician parents. And
well, my parents divorced when I was 3.5. So my father lived in Chicago. I was living with my sister in Miami with our mother, and it was different. Each household was different. They had their own personal family culture. But my father continued with music as long as he was alive, as long as he was healthy enough to do it. So even though he had a more conventional job, he always sang on the side.
My family, nobody in my immediate family was musical. My grandfather on my mother's side played the piano.
Yeah.
Which is where I assume I get the musical thing.
Okay.
Yeah. But I was never encouraged to.
Well, what kind of things did they play on the piano? Was it?
This I don't know. I imagine he played the standards, because they were that kind of people. They would have had the high balls and, had the people over for dinner at the pool party, the 1950s, 60s type
pool
atmosphere. Yeah. And then break out the 8mm Super 8 and put a movie on, and, let's sit and watch a movie.
Right. Right.
Back in the old days.
Yeah.
Is there does anyone type a question if you have a question for Roy? Is there anything that you wanted to say, or is there a question that you wanted me to ask you? Ask me, and I'll ask you back.
I can't think of it, but I know that some of the questions led into a trajectory in my mind. And I know when I was singing on the road and in college at the University of Florida, I would not have even thought of broaching topics I'm broaching now.
Really?
And I would not.
Through your music?
Through my music. And at this time in my life, with what I've experienced, I felt the confidence and sort of a mandate inside me to try and strive for authenticity. And that meant if I'm singing a love song, I can sing somebody else's love song, and I don't have to change the gender. But if it's my love song, more than likely it's going to be about another man.
Right.
And that's what I started doing. And that was something new. And I knew that it may not play well everywhere,
but it brings authenticity to your music.
Yeah.
It brings a sense of realism.
Right.
Whereas singing somebody else's song, you're just kind of trying not to screw it up so that you don't look bad in the eyes of everybody else who's heard that song 100 times. But yeah, to be able to put so much of yourself into the music is really, really important. And I'm finding that now, putting myself into the whole YouTube thing. Boy, look at my camera angle. Doesn't that just suck? Look at that. There we go. There we go.
Okay.
Hey, all right. Live TV, folks. So let's see. How long have you lived in California?
Oh, boy. Since 1993.
93.
So that's a long time.
Where did you first move? Palm Springs?
No, San Francisco.
Oh, okay.
And I met my husband in San Francisco.
Back again to the ocean, huh?
Well, I met him, and we had this dialogue. He wanted to move to Miami, and I wanted to move to San Francisco, and I won. And I absolutely was not going to stay in Miami, and I was enchanted by San Francisco at first.
Right.
And we lived just almost 30 years together. So a lot of my songs are also to my husband. He passed away a little over a year ago. And thank you. So that's when I started playing music again. That's what became the force that pulled me back into life. Really, that was everything. And so soon after he passed, I wrote a lot of songs to him. And then as time went on and my life as a widower moved forward, I expanded that, and I expanded the music, and I sing about what I'll call my spiritual path, but some of my songs have spirituality in them. Some of them have the yorishas and shamanism in there as part of the content, because the years I lived in Miami-Dade, I was exposed to a lot of Caribbean shamanism, and it's quite pervasive in Miami. At least that's my opinion, because you have a large Cuban population, and Santeria is widely practiced, and you have a large Haitian population, and voodoo is also widely practiced, not necessarily spoken of. It's often a cult. And that became part of the culture of where I was living in Miami as an adult. And so all those things are influences. There's so many more. Some of it, I do sing a lot about love and romance and passion, and it can be romantic passion, agape, brotherhood, love that you feel with people that is not romantic or sexual, and also erotic passion. All those things. They're topics I want to explore, and they're topics that I experience, and they're topics that other people experience, and then we get back to stories. So to me, that's the crux of what it's all about. Writing is often about stories, and so is music. So is rap music. It's oral traditions passed on.
You got it.
So that's a big tradition in folk music and Americana, and that has a lot of reach to it. Still does. It's still important. And what we call pop music has a huge spectrum.
Pop music. I'm just now getting back into pop music. Taylor Swift, Shake It Off. There's a lot of little things out there where normally I would look at an artist. In the past, I would look at an artist and instantly hear one thing or see one thing and make a judgment call. And like, that's not for me. I'm not going to do that. That's not for me. And it's the last several years have become such an opener for me. It brings me back to my childhood where my father was a DJ and he had stacks of records everywhere, and there was always something different on the LP. And so that was my musical thing, was listening to music, listening to records, listening to another thing that I grew up listening to. And I don't know, you said you've never really been into TV and movies and stuff. Probably the radio, because you enjoyed music when you were young. Now, how did you feel about radio dramas, old time radio shows, as we call them now?
I didn't listen to them, but I do love the one with Orson Welles.
Okay, The Shadow.
And that to me is almost part of American history. The effect it had on listeners.
We were talking not The Shadow, but we're talking about War of the Worlds. H.G. Wells' novel turned into a radio drama. And the neat thing about that was the crux of it was the first half hour of the show, it was brought to you as if it were a live radio broadcast. And then it wasn't until the second half of the show that you get to start figuring out, this is a radio program, But 30 minutes is enough for 1940s, I think it was late 30s, 39, I think is when it was broadcast. For 1930s, 40s America to hear this, it was too much. It was way too much. We had literally people in Pennsylvania, I think, or upstate New York, where it was New Jersey, where a lot of it was taking place, and they were freaking out in New Jersey, running around thinking they were seeing aliens.
And that's I kind of see the parallel now with fake news, so to speak.
Yes.
And how people will get excited or disturbed or violent as they watch an incident portrayed on the internet that could be totally fabricated.
Yeah.
And
it gets them all worked up. And now they want to go out and
Yeah.
beat somebody up or do something violent.
Right.
And they were watching special effects.
Right. And it is, I think, becoming more difficult to tell what is artificial intelligence,
Oh, yes.
what is created by that, and what
Yes.
is not. Even when it comes to art or music, that's just part of the fabric of things.
Search through YouTube and just punch in AI generated.
Yeah.
And you can find entire music videos that are generated by AI, movies, art,
right.
Actual music. And it's a change. It's a change in humanity, because now we're giving up that outlet that we have, and we're just saying, well, let that computer throw some music at me.
I don't think that will replace the human voice and the human lyric, the lyrics we write.
I think it will for a time.
Yeah.
I think it will for a time. We've already got AI generated lyrics.
Yeah.
AI generated movie scripts. Actors. I mean, there's just so much. We're becoming so lazy and complacent with technology doing everything for us. I think there's going to be a period where we just allow technology to take over, and then, like me reaching back and filling my house with 8 tracks and LPs and stuff, we need that connection, and we're going to find a time when we don't want to watch AI stuff. We want to watch somebody pick up a real camera, go out and shoot a real scene.
Yes.
And we want to hear a real person pick up a guitar and sing. We don't want to watch some fakery,
Yes. I mean, none of us know the future, but we do see trends of what's happening now. And then, of course, that was a big concern of the unions in Hollywood, because script writers,
replaced.
All types of people were concerned about that. Artists, graphic artists. So one way I can analogize it in my career history is I was a court reporter for about 32 years.
Wow.
And during the entire period of court reporting, there was always a competition with, for example, voice recordings or alternatives that did not involve a human element, that did not involve a person making the record. So part of our job survival was convincing administrators, convincing attorneys that we're providing a service that you cannot get. We're providing a product that you cannot get any other way. So I'm kind of used to that argument and how to make that argument. And I was involved with the union when I was a court reporter, and I'm not wanting to get into the politics of it, but one of the goals of the union that was representing court reporters was to make that case that this human element is important to really apprehend the word that is spoken, to apprehend the record when there are several speakers at one time, to say slow down if that works, when there's cross-talking. And I always felt like saying, hey, we're protecting your constitutional rights to have a record. This is something you get in an American court. You don't get that in every court.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's preserve, a lot of things that have since then have changed so much. Right?
Yeah. So it's a brave new world.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Before we go, did you want to play another song?
Let me find something. Yeah.
Okay. Was there anything that you wanted to tell our audience about your upcoming junket to promote your music?
Well,
we are going to paste some things in the description afterwards. So we're going to paste a full bio and a description to everything. But is there anything you want to?
Just that the velocity of what's going on in my involvement with music is picking up at a rapid pace, because my first album will be launched at some point in the near future.
On LP?
It'll be streaming.
8-track?
However, my producers have talked about creating an LP, because there is a market and for an LP also.
There is.
So that's under discussion,
Yeah.
but the primary mode of transmission will be streaming.
Okay.
And I'm guesstimating it will be in April. I'm not sure. I don't want to say there's a fixed date.
Right,
It's
right.
getting closer. So that involves putting a lot of pieces together,
Sure.
and it involves my participation in the business side of the model, which I thought, historically artists don't like that, but I'm finding it really interesting, and I think it's important.
Well, nowadays it's really important for the artist to be involved, because everything is artist centric now, and they've taken a lot of the publisher side out of it, whereas you really have to keep track of your stuff, and if you have your own website and web page, then your camp is now responsible for selling your music, right? So therefore you can, if you decide to get LPs or cassettes, are actually real easy for artists to produce, and you can find new artists with LPs and cassettes. But if you eventually get your own website, then you can be responsible for how your stuff is released, and people can come directly to you. They can find it here, they can find it there, but they can also come directly to you and find it through you, and maybe find some swag. Here's a t-shirt.
Thank you for helping me with this business plan, Mike.
Sure. Another thing I'd like to say is that if you can, on your adventure, try to record as much of the peripheral stuff that happens, whether you do photographs or somebody takes video of you out doing your thing. All right.
Yeah.
At some point, try to start yourself your own video log. All right, I'm going in. This is my second interview. Wish me luck, that kind of thing.
Right.
I was done with that. Was the best interview I've ever done. Oh, this one sucked, man. And then you can start thinking about posting things, or at what I'm seeing, the big picture is you bring it all back, and then you find someone to create a little story, a mini documentary of your journey.
Right? Yes. And that that whole aspect of it will involve me, but it'll also involve other people that have broader experience and broader connections. But what I have done feels like almost haphazardly is learn how to get more comfortable with social media, get more comfortable with posting, and learning how to use a camera. And so I would say that my actions are deliberate. They don't necessarily have one unified plan, but they're deliberate. And when I do posts, I try to find things that are interesting to me, whether it is something from a book, whether it is a selfie and it describes an action, whether it is an activity I'm involved with. For example, I do a lot of posting regarding my fitness group.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah. And the G-Force workout crew that meets in Ruth Hardy Park. And it's not the only one. There are others in Palm Springs and other cities, but it's a wonderful thing. And I'm very enthusiastic about fitness and staying healthier and eating right. And
I see somebody exercise. I want to get on the couch and grab a dog.
Right.
I'm just a lazy guy.
You're the people we need to.
Exactly. I need help.
Right.
He's fat and lazy, Marge.
Well, that's part of America, because
sedentary life.
Well,
modern slaves.
The automobile causes us to often drive when we could walk.
Dollar General right down the store. We go there. It's like 2 blocks away, but we got to drive. It's America.
Very Californian too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, very California.
Yeah, and Florida also. Florida's like that.
In New York, you just walk yourself down to the freaking deli. Hey, yo.
Exactly.
Bada bing.
You don't need a car.
Right. You don't. So let's see if we can dig up one last song.
Okay.
It's after 6, so I don't want to keep people too far from their Friday evening, because I know people want to go out. They want to do stuff. Come on, we're going to the movies.
Okay.
Okay. But yeah,
I found something.
Let's do another one, and then I think I'll work the camera again. That was neat.
Okay. Thank you, Michael.
Sure thing. Let's get your guitar set up here and your thing set up there.
Thank you.
I think we're ready to go, bro.
Thank you.
All right.
Oh, I need need to tune my guitar, Michael. Okay.
You can tune a car, but you can't tune a fish.
This is called I Feel Soft. When you hold me, my skin is liquid. When you hold me, I feel at peace. When you hold me, I lose my inhibitions. The weight on my shoulders is released. The moon is shining silver as it wanes into the night. The early morning air makes me shiver. Your blue eyes are shining bright. I feel soft when you touch my face. I feel soft in your embrace. I feel soft when I rub your feet. I feel soft when we merge between the sheets. Your scent is the earth in my garden. Your touch is a powerful vibration. The power of your arms makes me surrender to the flow of my fluid fascination. My soul is pining for your touch. Nothing else seems to matter very much. Make me crazy like a restless child. Take my breath away. Take me to the wild. Your scent is the earth in my garden. Your touch is a powerful vibration. The power of your arms makes me surrender to the flow of my fluid fascination. I feel soft. I feel soft. I feel soft.
Yeah.
Thank you, Michael.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Brother, that was sweet.
Thank you.
I was starting to feel a little gushy.
That's what I want to hear.
That's
Okay.
soft, damn it, it's soft. That was all right. Fantastic.
Hey,
man.
thanks,
That
buddy.
was awesome.
Thank
dude.
you so much.
Well, I think we've just about reached the end of our show. So be sure to stop by and check out the description and view the video again in the playlist anytime you want. That's pretty awesome that you can just watch this at any time, you know.
Yes,
and we'll hook
absolutely.
you up with links so you can send your friends and your people and your camp over to check it out.
Thank you so
And
much.
then you can share it around, right?
The
And
world is my oyster.
spread the love.
There you
Yeah.
go.
So we're going to sign off for tonight. We're going to sit down and we're going to dig through some 45s and we're going to put something on. We're going to listen to a little bit of Maxine Brown, just some fantastic stuff. We're going to get going because we're late. That means that you are going to join the Jeffersons already in progress. Okay, so it's not my fault. Okay, but it's a rerun, so you've probably seen Joe and Weezy screaming at each other before. All right, people. So thank you so much for stopping by. I want to thank my very special guest.
Thank you,
Roy Pitluk
from
down in Palm Springs. Everybody wish him luck. He's off to a fantastic start. I can't get enough of your stuff.
Thank you, brother.
I can't wait to hear your record. That's going to be great. Okay, I'll let you go now, and you can get on with the Jefferson. Well, thank you so much for stopping by, and keep your fingers crossed that corporate is going to let us do this again next week, and they'll find me a guest. So thank you so much. Bye now.
Thank you.
And we're going to go to end.